If you sell them university books
Or buy no cards.
What?
Actually, I was in here last night practicing and I just didn't have any with me.
Oh, okay.
I copy them all down. So
Okay, let's give attention to Thomas.
Okay. 15 hours a week. That's the amount of time that most of you spend on site at your job, and that is your classes. Many of you may have outside commitments and activities, such as a part-time job or a club or activity that you participate in, but in terms of your core purpose of this part of your life, you spend about 15 hours a week on site. However, once you graduate and join the workforce, you're going to be doing about 40 hours a week on average. You'll spend 40 hours a week away from your home, away from your family, doing work. However, a lot of people are being given the opportunity to forego this obligation through remote work agreements. Telecommuting has allowed millions of people to stay home and be with their families, completing work assignments over the internet and through other telecommunications technologies. As a small business owner and an employee of many various organizations since I started working since I was 14, I've had the opportunity to be in both these types of situations. I've also read a book called The 4-Hour Work Week that goes into detail about the benefits and drawbacks of both types of work. I'm convinced that telecommuting can be a benefit to both the employees that do it and the organizations that employ them. Since all of you are in college, many of you will be graduating quite soon and joining the workforce. At some point in your career, some of you may want to negotiate a remote work agreement of your very own. However, a lot of organizations still hold on to a micromanagement philosophy that values face time and number of hours worked over results and cost efficiency. Entrenched ideas about the nature of work are just hard to let go for some organizations, and a lot of people think that it will hurt their career if they challenge these ideas. In this speech, I'm going to detail some of the ideas that managers and organizations hold against telecommuting, and then provide a plan for refuting these ideas, and then providing a plan for you to negotiate your own remote work agreement. First, I'm going to go over the reasons that managers and organizations don't like telecommuting. There are three main misconceptions that are held about remote work agreements, and the first of those is that people that telecommute just won't work as hard. In his book called Winning, the former CEO of GE, Jack Welch, talks about a manager who received a remote work request from one of her employees. The reason the employee gave for wanting to work from home was so that he could practice yoga. Obviously, this isn't going to leave a very good impression on the manager, and she denied the request. I've had an example of not working hard from home in my own experience. When I started my web design business, I was working with a partner. Since we had just graduated high school, we were working from my bedroom. In that room, we also had our TV and an Xbox. And that Xbox distracted my partner so much that he was missing deadlines, not doing any work, and giving me a lip when I asked him to do work. Eventually, I had to break the partnership and go solo because of those distractions. The second idea that managers hold against telecommuting is that the cost of infrastructure improvements, equipment, and extra management needed to support telecommuters will outweigh the benefits that they provide. Companies that support telecommuters may have to purchase such equipment as extra telecommunications equipment for home use, ISDN lines, virtual private networks, and possibly even company-issued computers that employees can take home. Companies may also need to provide extra management time for occasional home visits to ensure proper job performance. In an article called Does Telecommuting Improve Productivity by the Communications of the ACM organization, it was estimated that it costs $4,300 per year per telecommuter in one certain organization. The third idea that managers and organizations hold against telecommuting is that some jobs just can't be done off-site. Certain jobs, such as factory and manufacturing positions that can't yet be automated, like a quality assurance worker in a factory that produces food, is one certain type of job that can't be done from home. Another one that obviously can't be done from home is security. That is, until we get remote control police robots that you can control from your computer. Now, a lot of these ideas hold some merit in certain contexts, but they're not as applicable in as nearly as many cases as is believed. The case can be made that telecommuting can benefit both individuals and the organizations that employ them. Telecommuting is beneficial to individuals because it makes them happier and more productive. Remember the case from Jack Welch's book Winning that I told you earlier about the employee that wanted a remote work agreement to do yoga? What I didn't tell you is before that request came in, the manager received another request from a woman who wanted to work from home so she could take care of her newborn baby. The manager said yes to this request. Now you might be thinking that the reason for saying yes was because taking care of a newborn is more important than yoga. And that might be right, but that's not the reason. The reason was this particular employee had a track record of stellar results in the company. And the manager knew that once she went home and started working without the supervision of in-office work, she would continue to deliver on those results. And she was right. Similarly, in the book The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, there is an example of a mechanical engineer who negotiates a remote work agreement with his own boss. Surprisingly, once he starts working from home, his output of mechanical designs doubles. How is this possible? Well, firstly, remote work just was more motivating for him. In his case, he was even able to travel to Germany and do some things that he'd always wanted to do while working. Secondly, and more importantly, working from home enabled him to forego a lot of the useless communication that goes on in the office, such as people just stopping by your cubicle to chat and useless email. Even the communications that were needed were able to be routed into more efficient types of communication, such as email and phone calls, rather than long, scope creep-laden meetings. Besides benefits to, you might be wondering if there are statistics to back up these two examples. There are, in fact. In that article I mentioned earlier called Does Telecommuting Improve Productivity? There was a study done on the KWAC call center in Arlen, Illinois that would track a 5-year period starting a telecommuting program. When the program started, they chose to quantify the amount, intensity, and efficiency of the work done, and found that telecommuter productivity went up 154% in the first year and continued at the elevated level over the duration of the program. Not only that, but once the telecommuting program was instituted, the entire call center's abandoned call percentage dropped from 12 to 3%. In my own experience, I've found that telecommuting has made me very productive. The reason for this was I was able to purchase the things I wanted to configure my workspace exactly the way I wanted it, instead of having to conform to an office environment. Besides being beneficial to employees, telecommuting can benefit organizations as well. Ray Lito Elbow's Business World article called Why Allow Telecommuting offers reduced overhead costs and the possibility of extended service hours as possible benefits for organizations. In the case of the KWAC call center, they were able to save about $1,300 per year on each telecommuter. Now, remember earlier when I said it costs $4,300 per year to support a telecommuter for this organization. The reason they saved money is they were actually saving $5,600 a year on reduced office space requirements and reduced management time needed. With all these benefits for organizations, it shouldn't be too hard to negotiate your own remote work agreement with your own boss. The 4-Hour Workweek talks about a job that you might not think could be done from home, but actually can. A hotel lets their concierge work from home by setting up an LCD TV and a webcam in their lobby. The concierge is able to work from home perfectly and still stay home and take care of her newborn baby. The book also suggests asking your boss for a trial period in order to increase the chances of being granted a telecommuting agreement. The trial period serves two purposes. It allows your boss to avoid making a permanent decision, and it allows you to show off productivity gains during the trial period that allows you to work up to a better agreement. The combination of a non-binding trial agreement, along with the benefits that telecommuting has been shown to provide organizations, should make it quite easy to negotiate a remote work agreement with your own boss if your job is able to be done from home. Telecommuting has been shown to be a boon to both individuals and the organizations that employ them. Since so many different types of jobs have been shown to be effectively done from home, and since the overhead costs can be reduced for organizations by using telecommuters, negotiating a telecommuting agreement isn't such a taboo idea as it's been thought in the past. If you know that you can produce better or the same results from home as you can in the office, and a telecommuting agreement would be a good thing for your work-life balance, then you should probably pursue this idea for yourself.
Thank you, Sydney.
I thought it was really well organized and the points were made really clear throughout the speech. One thing that might have helped was if you related it more to the audience throughout, like by saying if you're a business major and you're going to work in an office, you might be able to do this work from home. Okay. That might have helped.
Good.
Otherwise, I thought it was good.
Good. We have time for Molly to say
Okay,
something.
Sorry, I thought I was doing Dan, but
Oh.
I thought it was good. And then obviously like the patterns of organization, problem solutions, like well revealed. And then, but I feel like you might have talked a little too like fast.
Too quickly.
Like maybe it was just too like rushed together. But otherwise you have really good information.
Okay. Thanks, Molly. Thanks, Thomas. Dan, you're going to be number 1. Number uno. Okay?
I have a question.
Yes, I should.
I don't know if that went on.
No, you should. No.